In the face of the worldwide Steve Corino crisis, Fightful reported yesterday that, just like how they did for WrestleMania week, WWE were going to record the next month's worth of Raw, SmackDown, and NXT in a mammoth stint of tapings over the next few days. Starting with a live episode of SmackDown last night and concluding with a live episode of Raw on Monday, with the rest of the month's TV set to air as pre-taped. This was corroborated by PW Insider, who added WWE had taken over a nearby hotel for talent and crew, with them set to tape all of their material in waves in order to follow CDC standards. They were planning to record so much content, in fact, that the tapings might have gone all the way up until May 10th's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. But then, suddenly, without any warning or heads up to the talent or crew, after recording the first of the weekend's mass tapings with yesterday's editions of SmackDown and 205 Live, Vince McMahon changed his mind. Instead of WWE trying to bulk tape as much content in one go as possible, limiting the amount of travel and interaction needed, Pro Wrestling Sheet is reporting the promotion will revert to their pre-Steve Corino crisis schedule of broadcasting Raw, SmackDown, and NXT live from the Performance Center, which means more people flying in and out, which means more interaction between people, which means a significantly higher risk of spreading disease by CDC standards. Pro Wrestling Sheet writes they have no word on what influenced the decision. The Wrestling Observer, however, does. Dave Meltzer is reporting McMahon changed all plans during the middle of the day yesterday, announcing to talent and crew that WWE TV will be going as close to live as soon as possible. While that was always a possibility, this was not the plan as of Thursday, and many in the company were shocked at the decision. Meltzer reveals that McMahon's change of plans is driven by WWE's contracts with NBC Universal and Fox. Apparently the TV deals for Raw and SmackDown respectively only allow for 3 pre-tape shows a year, which WWE often use for the Christmas period and their 2 European tours. While nobody will say so publicly, the fear was that by violating the contract, it would give the networks the legal ability to withhold money or find a way to change the deals. And right now, when TV networks are looking to cut costs with falling advertising revenue, the pre-tape loophole could be used to pay less for WWE's very expensive programming, which is both WWE and AEW's largest source of revenue. Fightful adds that McMahon was very aggressive about the decision, and wrestlers are said to be unhappy about the change in plans, which puts their health at significantly greater risk. WWE not taping content in advance isn't just reckless for people's safety though, it could potentially leave the promotion in a position where they are shut down entirely and can't do any of their live broadcasts. Wrestlers and crew were reportedly given a letter on Friday that said they are considered essential media, which they should show the police if they are stopped and asked why they're out of the house during Florida's stay-at-home order. WWE is arguing they're in the same bracket of newspapers, television, radio, and other media, which are on the list of essential services. But that's at the whim of the respective state they're in, as the UFC found out when the Californian governor Gavin Newsom went over Dana White's head and got the Disney-owned ESPN to cancel next weekend's UFC 249. And as if this isn't all stressful enough, McMahon didn't just release the revival from WWE yesterday, he had to let go an entire company's worth of employees. McMahon relaunching his failed early noughties alternative football league, the XFL, was always a business move more fueled by damaged pride over actual business sense. Vince was reportedly writing off hundreds of millions of dollars to fund what was essentially a vanity project, trying to erase his career's most costly mistake. But now, in a Steve Corino world, the XFL revival is even more ill-advised. After 5 weeks of play, the XFL announced its inaugural season was ending early due to Steve Corino. But McMahon remained confident about the company's future, continuing to pay the league and team employees, including players, their normal salaries to restart next year. Sadly and unfortunately though, all those people have now lost their jobs, with the COO Jeffrey Pollock announcing on a company-wide conference call, XFL employees were just informed that the league is suspending operations and all employees have been laid off. The XFL isn't technically out of business just yet, with Pollock instead describing them as shut down. According to ESPN, McMahon is evaluating next steps for the league. One staffer isn't optimistic though, saying it's done, it's not coming back. Due to its deal with ABC, ESPN and Fox, the XFL received no money for those networks broadcasting their games in the first season, with the idea they would pay in later years. Meaning it's a huge net loss for McMahon, and sadly, with more people losing their jobs. Following his 2-minute Blue Universal Championship loss to Braun Strowman last weekend, which I'm still pretty sure WWE are promoting as against Roman Reigns, Bill Goldberg has made his first comments on the situation since WrestleMania. Roman pulled out of the match over a week before it was aired because of very real concerns over his health, with his history of leukemia putting him at a higher risk of a more severe reaction to the disease. And now, speaking to the CarCast podcast, Goldberg confessed, "I don't know why facing Roman was even considered in the beginning, except for the fact that we'd invested time and WWE invested the money in the angle in the match." He revealed that WWE actually was still trying to tape the match as soon as the day before WrestleMania Night 1, which is why they didn't announce the change to Braun Strowman. It was possible that I could do a match with Roman again before the 5th of April. That obviously fell through. Corroborating our exclusive report from this week that Goldberg was always going to drop the title at WrestleMania because he didn't want to wrestle any more dates for 2020, he said that as soon as he taped the Strowman replacement match, my obligations were complete for the year. My second match was already wrestled, so I was literally done. So I come back here on Friday and jump on the tractor and eat as many bonbons and Uncrustables and Coke and drink as many Cokes, I hope it's the good kind, and don't go to the gym for 5 days. And then I get a phone call in the middle of the week that it's still a possibility. Goldberg put over Reigns for still trying to make the match happen despite his health concerns, saying you've got to love the guy because up to the 11th hour, he was still willing to do it. You wouldn't know that by watching WWE though, as they pretty much completely ignored Roman was ever even a thing, like in last night's episode of SmackDown. Thanks for your support on Patreon. Float like a butterfly, Samad Ali. The show kicked off with new Blue Universal Champion Braun Strowman, who came out to celebrate his victory over Goldberg at WrestleMania to be challenged by Shinsuke Nakamura for the main event match. But I thought he knows speak English. Because WrestleMania is just too big for one night, and Monday's Raw, we got a WrestleMania rematch next with Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss successfully defending their freshly won Women's Tag Team Championships against the Kabuki Warriors in a fun match. I feel Asuka and Kairi Sane are going to break up soon. Elias did a song from the Crow's Nest again. Why would you go up there? Gloating about his beating Corbin at WrestleMania and saying he's now going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase, if that pay-per-view even happens. After a recap of the best storyline in the history of wrestling, Otis and Mandy Rose's romance, Sonya Deville and Dolph Ziggler demanded to talk to Mandy to be answered by Tucker for unfinished business after Ziggler beat him down last week. Where the usual comedy tag team oh my god, Tucker, are you trying to kill him? Tucker was fantastic in this match, wrestling with a newfound intensity, constantly trash-talking and working extremely stiff. Dolph just managed to sneak a victory with a super kick. After Morrison retained the tag team championships at WrestleMania in a singles ladder match, totally always the plan, Miz and Morrison did a live episode of The Dirt Sheet in the ring before being interrupted by the Usos and the New Day, where Jimmy slyly coughed into his arm, a reference to Miz being pulled from their Mania match for getting sick, and the reported heat between him and the Usos because of it. A WrestleMania inverse match is booked for next week, with The Miz versus Jey Uso versus Big E for the tag titles. Up next was an unexpected NXT call-up for the Forgotten Sons of Jackson Ryker, Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler, who took on Lucha House Party in a very decent tag match. The action didn't stop for a second, with some really innovative spots, culminating with the Forgotten Sons picking up the victory thanks to Ryker's help on the outside. Hopefully the main roster is a better fit for them than NXT was. Unfortunately, the women's tag division isn't as deep as the men's, with the makeshift team of Carmella and Dana Brooke, I get it, they're both blonde, challenging Bliss and Cross in an unfunny segment. Then Sasha Banks and Bayley celebrated Bayley retaining the title at WrestleMania for Tamina to set herself up as the next competitor. Don't worry, it's just a filler storyline, as Bayley put Banks up for the match instead, further building dissension between the role models. Sheamus squashed local talent Cal Bloom next, and then we got a hype package for Jeff Hardy's return, which he'll reportedly get a big push to stop him going to AEW. And the main event saw Strowman take 95% of the match and then beat Nakamura with a power slam. Yep, that's as depressing as it sounds. But the follow-up angle was awesome. Braun was interrupted by a Firefly Funhouse segment, setting up Braun versus Bray for the Blue Universal Championship. It's a feud that makes perfect sense for Wyatt's character and Strowman's past. Hopefully it means Braun will be dropping the title to The Fiend soon, and we can pretend like the last 2 months of Blue Universal Championship storylines never happened. So that was this week's SmackDown. Let me know what you thought in the poll by clicking the I above my head and casting your vote. This was a fun episode of SmackDown that set up a lot of future angles, so this week's gets a high smack bang in the middle. Free wrestling stuff alert! Thanks to the wonderful people at WrestleCrate. If you go to wrestlecrate.co.uk and use the promo code WrestleTalk, you'll get 3 photographed portraits inside your first box when you take out a subscription, including one from me and Luke. WrestleCrate is a monthly mystery box full of loads of wrestling goodies, which has items from the biggest promotions in wrestling. Will Ospreay is lobbying for a CM Punk match in New Japan. Click the video on the right to watch our exclusive interview. And did WrestleMania 36 fail? Click the video below that for the latest WrestleTalk podcast, and make sure to go over to WrestleTalk.com for all your daily wrestling needs outside these videos, like 10 dream matches for the Revival now they've left WWE. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was wrestling.